Hello students, welcome to lecture number 5 in Design and Analysis of Algorithms. Okay. In the previous lectures, we have seen how to measure the time complexity of an algorithm in terms of step count method as well as operation count method, right? Now we will cover the next part of analysis the performance of an algorithm, that is going to be the space complexity. Okay, and you are aware about the definition of space complexity, right? Okay, so what is meant by space complexity? The amount of memory that can be occupied in your system to complete its execution by your algorithm, right? So the space complexity of an algorithm can be done by two components. Okay, first one is fixed part, and second one is variable part. Okay, so by summing these two parts, you are able to get the space complexity for an algorithm. Now we try to focus on what are the memory allocations that can be done at fixed part and what are the memory allocations that can be done at variable part. Okay, so fixed part, the first component name is fixed part, right? So this fixed part contains memory allocation for statical things, and the variable part which contains memory allocation for dynamical things. Okay, so likewise you are allocating the memory for your algorithm in a statical way under fixed part and in dynamical way under variable part. Okay, so based on these two components only, you are able to get the space complexity for a particular problem, right? Now, so this is your unit 1 syllabus. So in the last lectures, we have completed definition of an algorithm, pseudocode conventions, nothing but algorithm specifications, recursive algorithm also we have completed, and in the analysis part, we have completed time complexity, to measure the time complexity of an algorithm through step count method as well as operation count. Okay, and in the current lecture, we are going to be discussing about the concept which is named as space complexity. Okay, so in the current lecture, we are going to be understand how the definition of space complexity is going to be and how to measure the space complexity of an algorithm with the help of fixed part as well as variable part, and we will discuss some examples, okay, to analyze the space complexity of an algorithm. Okay, so the main objective of this lecture is to understand the concept of space complexity. Okay, the main outcome of this lecture is after completion of this lecture, you can have a capability to analyze the space complexity of any algorithm. Okay, so that is the main contents that you are going to be learned in this lecture. Now let us understand what is the definition of a space complexity. Okay, so space complexity of an algorithm is nothing but the amount of memory that can be occupied in your system by your algorithm to complete its execution. Okay, so as I said previously, the space complexity of an algorithm can be measured by the sum of two components. Okay, so first component is fixed part and second one is variable part. Okay, now we try to focus on what is meant by fixed part and later we will discuss about what is meant by variable part. Okay, we try to have a concentration. What are the components that comes under this first part, which is fixed part? Okay, so in this fixed part, you are going to be allocate the memory for the independent components only. Okay, nothing but the simple variables, okay, or the constants, as well as the fixed components, as well as the arrays, structures. So you are allocating the memory for these components in fixed part. Okay, so what is meant by independent on input and output? For example, in my algorithm, I am simply initializing a variable I with a value 5. Okay, so after initialization, the I variable with a value 5, ultimately this variable is not depending upon any input from the parameter dynamically. Why? Because you are statically allocating or you are statically assigning the value to a variable. Okay, so all the statical memory locations can be done in fixed part only, or as well as varies from problem to problem. Why? Because the statical things will change from problem to problem, right? And you are allocating the memory in this component for the simple variables. So this is an example for simple variable. Okay, and the memory allocation for fixed components. What are the fixed components? The best example is pi. What is the value for pi? 3.141. Okay, so the value for this pi value, it is not possible to change. Okay, the value for the pi is fixed. Okay, now coming to the constant. In your C language, you are writing the constants with the help of preprocessor directories, right? So best example is with the help of hash define. For example, hash define space area space 3.56. Okay, so the value for that variable area is fixing. Okay, so and as well as you are allocating the memory for structure variables like arrays as well as structures. At compile term only you are allocating the memory for these components. Okay, so for all these components you are allocating the memory for your algorithm in fixed part. Now let us understand what are the memory allocations that can be done at variable part. Okay. Now you try to focus on what are the memory allocations that can be allocated in the variable part. Okay, so in variable part, so this is going to be depending on the problem instance. Okay, so now we try to understand what is meant by a problem instant with a dependency. Now we try to focus on what are the memory allocations that can be done at variable part. Okay, so before going to be discussion on variable part, you try to observe this example on factorial. Okay, so here I am taking a factorial function with a parameter value 3. And this is going to be reduced as factorial with a parameter value 2. Okay, so in factorial function you are going to be have a constant for big problem, right? So the factorial of n will be reduced as factorial of n minus 1. Now my factorial of 2 will be reduced as factorial of with a parameter value 1. Now my factorial 1 will be reduced as factorial with a parameter value 0. Okay, so this is the way you are going to be have a top to bottom approach to have recursive calls, and you are going to be have a bottom to up approach to get the results. Okay, so to get the results, ultimately you need to store all these function calls in stack or not. Yes. Okay, so for if you observe here, for every function invocation the parameter is changing or not. Yes, right. So in the first iteration the parameter value is 3. For the second iteration the parameter value will be changed as 2. And in the third iteration the parameter value will be changed as 1. So likewise the parameter value that is available in one variable will be changing dynamically with the corresponding function invocation. That is nothing but in variable part you are allocating the memory for dynamic variables only. Okay, so for every variable you need to identify whether that variable is a simple variable or dynamic variable. Simple variable will comes under fixed part and dynamic variable will comes under this variable part. Okay, now you try to focus on this tracing. Okay, so to execute all these 4 function calls, you require a data structure stack or not. So ultimately the allocation for stack can be done this variable part only. So the stack, the function invocations that are available in the stack will going to be have a recursive nature. That's why the stack is named as recursive stack. Okay, so after having these 4 number of function calls, and at the last function onwards you are going to be get the result. Okay, what is the result for the last function invocation? You are going to be get a result 0. The factorial of 0 is 1. Okay, the factorial of 0 is 1. So after getting the result for the last function call, the result will be returned back to the calling function, its calling function. Okay, so after getting the result of factorial of 1, and the result will be returned back to factorial of 2. After getting the result of factorial 2, and the result will going to be returned back to factorial 3. Okay, so likewise the control will going from bottom to top. Okay, to get the results. Okay, now to execute all these function calls you require a stack, and in the stack only all these function calls are going to be stored. Okay, so from factorial of 3 to factorial of 0. Okay, so from top to bottom you are going to be have a recursive calling, and bottom to top you are going to be have a return the result. Okay, now here you are going to be have a one doubt like how the control is going back to the calling function. Okay, after getting the result of factorial 1, as I said previously, the result will be written back to factorial 2, right? Okay, so how it is possible for the algorithm to change the control from one function to another function or called function to calling function with the help of by storing the address of that function call. Okay, so by storing the address of the function call, the algorithm is having a capability to return the control from called function to calling function. Okay, that is a main theme behind recursive stack with the help of dynamic variables. Okay, now we try to focus on the formula for space complexity. So this is going to be the formula for space complexity. The space complexity for every algorithm is denoted by S suffix p. Okay, S is nothing but space complexity. P, the capital P defines a particular problem P. So together S of P is nothing but space complexity for a particular problem P. Okay, and capital C will defines the fixed part and S suffix P will defines the variable part. Okay, so as I said previously in the definition of space complexity, the space complexity of an algorithm is a sum of both fixed part as well as variable part. So the fixed part is denoted by capital C and variable part is denoted by S suffix P. Okay, there is a difference between S of P as well as S suffix P. So S suffix P denotes variable part, S of P denotes the space complexity for a particular problem P. Okay, so that is a main formula behind space complexity. Okay, so the capital C defines fixed part and S suffix P defines variable part. The sum of these two components will produce the entire space complexity of your algorithm. Now we will have a discussion on examples, how to measure the space complexity. So here I am going to have a simple algorithm. Okay, so what is the algorithm name here? ABC. This algorithm is going to be accepting how many parameters as input? 3 parameters as input. So what is the logic that is going to be available in this algorithm? Simply you are performing a arithmetic operation. You are performing some arithmetic addition operation, subtraction operation, division operation as well as multiplication also operation you are performing. Okay, simple one arithmetic expression you are evaluating and after evaluating this expression you are returning the result. Now we try to focus on how to get the space complexity for this example. Okay, so if you observe this example, how many variables which are required or which are involved in to evaluate the expression, to evaluate this expression? Okay, how many variables are involving to evaluate this expression? How many variables? 3 variables, right? What are those? Variable A, second one is variable B and third one is variable C. So likewise, to perform this expression or to evaluate this expression, you require 3 variables. And I am assuming that each variable will occupies 1 word of memory block. Okay, so like how many variables are there? 3 variables are there. Now how many memory word blocks you required? 3 memory blocks you required. Okay, so all these 3 variables A, B, C are simple variables or not? Yes, simple variables. Why? Because this algorithm is not having any recursive nature. Okay, it is a simple non-recursive algorithm. Okay, if the algorithm is having a recursive, ultimately based on the function invocation, the variables will be changed dynamically. Okay, so here you are going to have 3 simple variables. Okay, it doesn't. This algorithm is not having any, not requires any recursive stack as well as dynamic variables also, and the result for this space complexity will be done by the sum of fixed part as well as variable part. Okay, so these 3 variables will comes under fixed part. Now can you tell me what is the space complexity for the variable part for this algorithm? So is this algorithm contains any recursive nature? No, right? Is this algorithm contains any dynamic variables? No, right? So ultimately the variable part for this algorithm is going to be becomes 0, and under fixed part you are going to be you required 3 memory word blocks to allocate the memory for this algorithm, right? Now you try to observe. So how the space complexity of this algorithm is going to be. Okay, so as we discussed previously, So the space complexity of an algorithm is the sum of fixed part as well as variable part. Okay, the variable for the variable part, this algorithm is not having any recursive as well as dynamic variables. That's why under variable part, the space complexity is going to be becomes 0. Now under fixed part, you are going to be have 3 simple variables which are named as A, B as well as C, and you are assuming that one memory word block is sufficient for each variable, okay, to allocate the memory for A, B as well as C. So ultimately the fixed part, the space complexity is going to be becomes 3, and the value for variable part is 0. So the space complexity for this algorithm is going to be becomes 3. Okay, this is a way you are going to be measuring the space complexity for every algorithm in terms of fixed part component as well as variable part component. Okay, so for every algorithm, you try to focus on what are the components which comes under fixed part and what are the components which comes under variable part. So after identifying, and it is very easy to get the space complexity. Now for better understanding, we will discuss the second example. Okay, you try to observe the second example. So in the second example, I am performing addition operation on the elements which are available in the array A. So the size of the array is n. Okay, so initially my sum is 0. So to get the sum of the elements which are available in your array, for tracing purpose I am taking a for loop. Okay, so for every iteration I am retrieving the corresponding index, and that index element will be updated to my s variable with the help of addition operation. Okay, so after performing addition operation, the return again will be storing back to s. Okay, so after complete execution of this for loop, I am returning the result. Okay, this algorithm we have discussed in the time complexity itself, right? Now we try to focus on how to get the space complexity for this algorithm. Now if you observe here, is this algorithm contains any dynamic part or any variable part? So what variable part contains? Recursive stack as well as dynamic variables. Any dynamic variable which is required, which is available in this one? No, right? So it contains 3 simple variables. What are those? First variable is n, and second variable is s, and third simple variable is I. So this algorithm contains only simple 3 variables. It doesn't contain any recursion, as well as this algorithm doesn't contain any dynamic variables. And like your previous example, the variable part for this algorithm is going to be becomes 0. Now try to focus on how to update the fixed. How many variables, how many simple variables are available in this algorithm? 3 simple variables, right? So simple variable 1, which is n, second one is s, and third one is I. Okay, you try to assume for each variable, one word of memory block is enough to allocate the memory. So based on this discussion, how many memory blocks is required? So ultimately to store these simple 3 variables, 3 memory blocks is required. Along with that one, you are going to be have an array. This array contains how many elements? N elements. So together, the space complexity for this algorithm is going to be n plus 3. Okay, n for the array, okay, 3 for the simple 3 variables n, I as well as s. Okay. Now try to focus on the space complexity. Okay. So as we discussed previously, so n space is required for the array, and for each variable one word of memory is required, and those simple variables are n, s as well as I, and the variable for this algorithm is going to be becomes 0. Why? Because it doesn't contain any recursion as well as dynamic variables. So therefore the space complexity of this algorithm is going to be becomes n plus 3, n for the array, and the constant memory for 3 is going to be for 3 simple variables are nothing but s, n as well as I. Total space complexity for this example. Okay. Now we try to focus on third example. In the third example, we will see about a recursive algorithm, recursive sum algorithm. This algorithm is very known to you, right? Okay. So this algorithm is taking 2 inputs as a parameter. So first parameter defines array, and second parameter defines n. Okay. So if n is less than 0, you are returning 0. Okay. So if n is greater than 0, ultimately the n will be reduced as n minus 1. Okay, and for every function invocation, you are retrieving the corresponding array index element. It just take a tracing of this algorithm. R sum with a parameter value 3 I am taking. So how this is going to be executes? So ultimately the R will be coming to the 3 parameter will coming to this algorithm as a input. So ultimately else block will be executed. Okay, so this will be reduced as the n value will be reduced as n minus 1, right? So now this will be going to be written as recursive sum with a parameter value 2. So 3 will be reduced as 2. Now for the second iteration, the parameter will be changed from 2 to 1. And for the next iteration, the recursive sum with a parameter value will be changed from 1 to 0. As well as for every iteration, you are retrieving the corresponding index which is available in the array, right? Like this. And for parameter n equal to 0, you are returning 0. Okay, so this is the way you are going to have a tracing for this algorithm. Okay, so to execute all these function invocations, what you required? You required a data structure which is recursive stack. Okay, so for every function invocation, the parameter value is changing or not? Now the dynamic variable you required. Okay, now if you observe here, all these function calls will be stored in a stack like this. It contains recursive sum of 3, recursive sum with a parameter 2, recursive sum with a parameter 1, and recursive sum with a parameter 0. Okay, so this is the way you are going to have a function invocation. So after executing recursive sum with a parameter 0, the result must be returned back to recursive sum with a parameter 1 or not? Yes. So after executing this function, the result will be written back to recursive sum with a parameter 2. So after executing this function, again the result will be written back to recursive sum with a parameter 3. So likewise, you are going to have a backtracking to get the results. Okay, so for every stack, you required a dynamic variable or not? Yes, you required a parameter. Every time, for every function invocation, parameter is changing. As well as you need to store to return the result back to the calling function. From called function, you need to store the return address. As well as you need to store these pointers. Okay, so the f of 3 is pointing to f of the recursive 2. The recursive 2 is calling to recursive 1. And the recursive 1 is calling to recursive 0. Okay, likewise you need to have you require a single pointer for every function invocation. Okay, so if you observe the Fibonacci sequence example, the Fibonacci sequence with a parameter n will be reduced as Fibonacci with n minus 1 as well as Fibonacci with n minus 2. So for every function invocation, how many pointers you require for that example? 2 pointers are required. But for this algorithm, only 1 pointer is enough. Why? Because n is reduced as n minus 1. Now try to focus on how to update the space complexity for this algorithm. Okay, so here you required a recursive stack. So that recursive stack contains formal parameter. For every function invocation, formal parameter is changing, right? And you required a local variable to store the corresponding element that is available in the array, and as well as you require return address to change the control from called function to calling function. And these recursive parameter of these 3 parameters are going to be common for each and every function call or not? Yes, right? Now coming to the next one. For each function invocation call, you need to carry the array of elements, and the size of the array is n, and to pointing the calling function to called function, you required 1 pointer. Okay, so together it is going to be n plus 1. So why it is n plus 1? N for the array, and for every function invocation, you are generating only single function. Okay, to point the calling function as well as called function, you require a pointer which is 1. So together it is n plus 1. So these recursive stack of these 3 parameters will be common for each and every call. Okay, so together the space complexity of this algorithm is going to be 3 of n plus 1. Why 3 of n plus 1? N size you required for the array, and for every function invocation 1 pointer is required, and for every function invocation you required 3 parameters to store in your stack memory location, which are going to be the formal parameter, local variable as well as return address. So this is the way you are going to be updating the space complexity for this example, right? So as of now we have seen definition of the space complexity as well as how many components you required to update the or to analyze the space complexity of an algorithm in terms of fixed part as well as a variable part, and as well as we have seen some examples also. Now we try to take these 2 examples as an assignment. Okay, the first example I am going to be giving to you is matrix addition. Okay, you try to analyze the space complexity for the matrix addition under exercise number 1, and under exercise number 2 you try to find out the space complexity for the linear search. You try to make a note each and every questions which are available here, and we will discuss the solutions of these questions in the class itself. Okay, thank you. That's the end of this lecture. Thank you.